Right. What's he doing? He's waving incense at the, Alright, take me to the ship, please. Oh, dear glass. Alright, back to the ship. Please. You can always hire mercenaries to tell your experience. You got the whole unique party co-op with your friends. I think all the calculations are fine. We're all healed up and ready to get back to it. Alright, we're going to head to make contact with the Navis Nobilite. Navis Nobilite. Navis Nobilite. Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. Brigadus pauses as if listening to something. It's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Versarian's voice in any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. Thank you, Boxmaster. Alright, what could this be? I spin around with time. Abelard.
The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger, Abelard's voice the loudest of all.
This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a highborn brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant.
The young woman standing before Abelard strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters but then manages to look him in the eye and say,
I apologize, sir. But I must speak to the Lord Captain.
Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence toward a higher-ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay.
That's bad.
Lord Captain. Lieutenant Avril Vent, requesting permission to speak.
Vent falls silent, and then adds rashly,
On a matter of extreme importance and urgency.
You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. Having two officers bickering in full view of the bridge is unacceptable.
I am sorry, Lord Captain.
You are?
I thought that drastic times called for drastic measures.
Vent exclaims hotly.
Decorum, Lieutenant. Decorum.
This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. But I am convinced that this step is unwarranted, and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers.
Vent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale.
Sure. A court-martial offense.
Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. He glances at Sourback, who is standing not far from him, but she maintains a stony expression.
Lord Captain. I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Versarian. And to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands.
Vent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She has clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she is finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at you.
Alright, so how did this all start?
The situation could boil over at any minute, so I'll give you the condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who'd been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive. But the search has brought tensions between enforcers and workers to a head.
Okay. And where does the seneschal come into all this? I shall explain. Go ahead.
I beg you to hurry. Time is running out.
I will not hurry.
I will not hurry since my competence is under scrutiny. I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There is an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of that system is that the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself, so, of course, when I received information about cultists hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship.
Right.
You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Verserian. Arrests, interrogations, mass punishments for entire sectors, it has driven the people to the brink.
Vent says bitterly.
Now there is a strike on the lower decks in Depot 4, to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection. But when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force.
Okay. So what is Depot 4?
Depot 4 is one of the poorest sectors on the lower decks. It is home to clans of general laborers. They are not as valuable to the ship as the families who have served its specialized systems for generations. They are an easily replaceable resource and one which is now, more besides, giving succor to cultists and minions of the archenemy.
Depot 4 is poor and troubled. But at worst that means drunken fights and illegal rotgut brewing. We have handled the workers of Depot 4 in the past. We would have done so again, if the crackdown on Depot 4 hadn't been so harsh. And another important point to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most populated lower decks, and everything that happens there has a knock-on effect on all the neighboring sectors.
Okay. So, Abelard, what do you have to say to all this?
I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections.
Okay.
For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You will see that they are not lying, or harboring heretics. That way, you will stop the uprising before it begins.
Master Arms, ship enforcers report to you, yet you seem hesitant to provide your own perspective.
Lord Captain, unlike Lieutenant Vent, I respect the chain of command and realize that it is not within my right to challenge my superiors.
Sourback bows her head in Abelard's direction. However, a moment later, a serpentine smile appears on her lips.
That being said, while I entirely share Master Verserian's opinion on what fate Depot 4 deserves, I must note that this insubordination is a direct consequence of practices that he himself has introduced.
Mistress Sourback, I see you have decided to follow the lieutenant's example after all. Such behavior does you no credit.
Okay. Sourback, explain yourself.
The ship's regulations state that the Master-at-Arms is responsible for resolving all matters related to the ship's enforcers. And yet it is no secret that the Seneschal has a tendency to show partiality. Those enforcers and officers whom he has deemed particularly promising are at times given permission to approach him for tutelage.
Okay.
I cannot deny Master Verserian's experience and insight. The Seneschal has a record of fostering students who have indeed achieved much and demonstrated impeccable performance. However, extending such patronage over the head of their immediate superior encourages disregard for hierarchy among your lordship's servants. Today, an enforcer goes to the Seneschal to report an order from the Master-at-Arms that they happen to disagree with. Tomorrow, they will go to the Lord Captain to object to the Seneschal's order. I notice a pattern in these actions.
Alright, Abelard, you respond.
Mistress Sourback, can you recall an occasion where I would encourage an officer to disobey their superior? Or one where I would overrule their order? Or show favoritism to those who merited none?
None, Seneschal, for there have been no such cases in the entire time I have served aboard this ship. If anyone were to claim otherwise, I would have them pay for insulting your honor with blood. Your conduct in this regard have always been spotless. Nevertheless, given your eminent position, a simple show of attention on your part is enough to erode the propriety of junior officers, inflate their sense of self-importance, and undermine discipline. That you distinguish some of them and know them by name is tantamount to walking around the officers' deck handing out gifts to officers who have caught your eye. It fills those you set apart with ambition and audacity, makes them stand out among the rest. Enforcers are meant to be faceless servants, fighters ready to die, their fate entrusted to their commander and no one else. That is the sole foundation of order.
Okay. Lieutenant, would you say that the Seneschal singled you out?
Lord Captain, I swear that Seneschal Verserian has never granted me any privileges, never once advocated for me, nor facilitated my promotions. Although he is the man who convinced me to become an officer in the first place. He has offered me extensive guidance in my service, for which I am grateful to him. And while not all my fellows receive such attention, I know of at least a dozen fine officers whom the Seneschal keeps in his sights, to ensure that they continue to strive.
To prepare new generations of the dynasty's servants, to instruct them, and to separate those with potential from those who have exhausted it, that is my duty as Seneschal. This ship has bays worth of pilots, enforcers, officers, technicians, and stewards whom I have raised personally. By the throne, every third person standing on this bridge right now was my student at one point.
Here's I've unearthed an old squabble thoroughly after Alright.
I dare not waste your time with such trivial matters, your lordship.
Alright, so there's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship. No one's informed me?
I would not deem it a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it so happens, are in revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rule across the entire ship.
Whoa.
It took a month to restore order, but even 8 years later, we were still battling rumors that the hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more.
Abelard scoffs.
Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it.
Alright.
But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rogue trader addresses the malcontents directly, he will quell the unrest.
I dread to think what problem you will disturb the rogue trader with next. Perhaps you will ask the Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room? I have already given you the means to resolve this problem, you simply need to use them.
If I may, your lordship, sending a hit squad to crush the rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it.
Right. Okay, I've heard enough. I'll go down to the lower decks, deal with this problem personally. Let's see. bonus of the decisions. Fine. I'm not sure. I don't want to make it seem like, I don't trust him. But I do want, this makes it sound like I don't, he's gone off the deep end. Yeah, I'll go down there. Praise the Emperor. Thank you, Captain. Right.
Praise the Emperor.
Vent cannot contain her relief.
Thank you, Lord Captain.
Abelard grits his teeth slightly.
An enterprise bordering on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you.
Where is he going?
Lord Captain, I regret that the enforcers were unable to handle the situation, which then led to your and the Seneschal's involvement. I consider it my duty to go to Depot 4 myself and see to the expedient resolution of this incident.
Alright, fine. Hold on a second. So, what's this? Yeah, I don't got any other choice. I've got 5 people, that's it. I guess, Jill Costa's gonna meet us? She's gonna meet me down there? Alright. Okay, go to the site of the conflict with the Seneschal. Hey, allaying mutiny.
I tread a path unexplored.
What the hell? What the hell's going on? What's going on? What? What happened? What happened? What? Alright. What just happened here?
Abelard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture, and a telling one a rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance.
The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors.
You kidding me? Lobotomizing more people? Did you hear they were shouting your name?
Of course they were. The organization of the daily, routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems from which I endeavor to insulate you, Lord Captain. The situation on the lower decks has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them, you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less. Whereas I am the man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering a bay's heating.
See, let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this. Needs to beat up.
Something resembling a nest made out of thermal insulation material. This must be where the workers sleep between shifts.
Wow. What the hell was that? Anyway.
The world trembles beneath my feet.
Wow, nobles are on deck. Down here to see us. Where are we supposed to be going anyway? Man, it looks super hot down there.
I still do not see our purpose in coming here.
Relax, old man. Going for a stroll on the lower decks every once in a while is good for you. Lets you see how the simple folk live.
You mean he's never
The
been?
enforcers have tormented us enough.
Okay, let's go see what we can find out. Oh, there they are.
I am at
Our
your
children are
service.
freezing. We've done nothing wrong, and we're being punished.
Oh, great. Damn it. Alright.
The sounds of a heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Avrila Vent of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of her superior, Master-at-Arms Jocasta Sourback, who has arrived clad in armor. Judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached boiling point.
Oh, there's the enforcers. Hold on a second.
Lieutenant Vent, my patience is wearing thin. I have given you an order. Now get out of my way. I cannot comply with that order, ma'am.
Vent looks shaken, but there is fire in her eyes.
This is my deck and my sector. So long as this area remains under the Lord Captain's special oversight, no action can be taken without my express permission. There are only 3 people who are authorized to make me stand down: the first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself.
What the hell did he come up with that?
So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears.
Abelard mutters in crabby approval. He does not clarify whether he means Vent, Sourback looming over her, or both.
Alright. You just talked to us 5 seconds ago.
Your Lordship.
Noticing you, the 2 officers snap to attention and salute, their subordinates following suit a moment later.
What's the situation?
Your Lordship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. Under control, Lieutenant? I came here to lead an investigative unit, and what do I see? The rabble is on the verge of mutiny. There is nothing to investigate. This simply calls for immediate repressions and firing squads. And you, Vent, are a step away from facing charges yourself.
Okay, hold on a second. I want to speak to the strikers.
Abelard's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing.
Why would I bother coming down here if I'm not going to talk to them?
Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck.
You guys
Hope
can always...
gleams in Lieutenant Vent's eyes.
You guys can always do your enforcing thing if necessary. But for now, let's see if we can resolve this without any further violence, alright? There's already been enough violence on our ship. We lost a bunch of people. We've lost our Lord Captain. Let's go.
Our children are freezing. We've done nothing wrong, and we're being punished.
Alright.
Our children are freezing. We've done nothing wrong, and we're being punished.
Okay, let's find
For
out.
Depot 4.
Don't.
Wow.
Don't.
Nobles from the upper decks, down here to see us. Greetings, your graces.
Alright.
A dozen pairs of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible, to the strange, to the outright grotesque. A whisper passes through the crowd, and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd: an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you.
Lord Captain. You have come down to us.
Tell me what troubles you. Why are you striking?
Striking? That's news to us, your lordship.
Says a tall, thin man in worker's garb.
All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think.
Okay.
Shut up, Rivet.
Snaps the old woman, who turns her hostile dark eyes on you.
Here's the deal, your lordship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists, one wrong word and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to whole bays for a week at a time, so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers.
The old woman spits on the floor and rubs at the spittle with the toe of her worn-out shoe.
I'm never gonna make it. I'm such a man of the people. Alright.
Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's deaths are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself.
It's all true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks, and who grew up amidships and has no fellow feeling toward us.
The grim man with a scarred face throws up his arms.
Your lordship, we're no villains here, we're honest workers, your servants. We've plotted no disorder, we went on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace, without being harassed.
I don't give a crap about this heretic. I know it's dumb, a bunch of bull. Alright. Senator, do you want to add anything? I don't want
I
you
authorize the
freezing
use of
people.
all necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector.
What?
The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me.
Abelard frowns,
Honestly.
clearly disgruntled at having to explain himself in the workers' presence.
Nevertheless, I am certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores, they are the enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action.
Alright. Master at Arms, was it really necessary to torture these people with cold?
The rabble understands only one language, Lord Captain, that of violence. As per regulations, should the laborers persist in their unwillingness to cooperate, the next step is limiting air supply and cutting off water, which is almost certain to restore order. The peasants can grumble all they want, but in the end, they are the source of their own misery. All they have to do is bow their heads and fall in line, and the need for punitive measures will disappear.
Alright, what change did you want? I'm not having that. What change did you want?
Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain himself is asking us bilge rats what we want. Well, here's what we want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here, and we want to be armed. Give us arms, and we'll govern ourselves, we'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here.
Well, we're not doing that. Right, yeah, you go too far.
You've gone too far, old man. They'll never let the maggots on the lower decks live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. They probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbor out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop hassling us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultists' bodies, and we'll talk to them, one lower decker to another. If there are any more of those damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves.
That's fine, Stagger.
You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures, I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the Anointed One turns his back, these brutes will be on us even harder than before. All because we dared to speak out.
Well, they're not getting what you want, man.
The tall worker's eyes dart between the two arguing leaders. Every few seconds, he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent,
Right.
simply making a few vague noises of approval.
No. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight in order. Withdraw those demands, and we will consider the rest.
The tall worker they call Rivet shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the old woman.
Old man, listen. Listen. The Lord Captain himself has come down to us and is offering concessions. And I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 who's ever stood next to the rogue trader, let alone talk to them. Back down, now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone.
Yeah, you'll be a dead old crone.
Listen to us, old man. The 3 clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made our minds up, it's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers or give us weapons, we don't need any of that.
The old woman hisses in dissatisfaction.
You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman. But I'll shut up. I will, indeed. I won't go against 2 clan leaders on my own. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace.
That's great, just fantastic. Lord Captain, we're all agreed.
Then it's decided. Persecution will stop. And I will expect you to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists.
Your lordship, thank you. You have not abandoned us lower deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Of course, your lordship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned.
What did he say? This is complete bedlam. This is complete bedlam. Are you satisfied, Lord Captain? The man suggests we leave this circus. It's just everything en route. Hell no, Lord Captain. They showed mercy on us. See that? I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Seneschal. I thought you were a man of the people. Let's get out of here. I'm more iconoclast than he is. Let's go.
Embrace
Oh my God.
true
They
power.
threw some, I thought that was acid. Alright, let's go. Hello. Alright, so how do we get out of here now? I guess we go. Now, I'm sure this is the first time I've ever seen the rogue trader. I You can't live like that, man. Alright. Now what?
Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance, and addresses your other companions, saying,
I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment.
Abelard looks at you, and his last vestiges of restraint vanish.
Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like, because they see you as a weak leader. You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like, because they see you as a weak leader.
So, Michelle, you know what? I choose to have faith in people until they show disloyalty. I thought you did the same.
Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valancius Protectorate?
Let's talk about your role in all this. Vote to happen, your actions. Yeah. I think you were too harsh. You could have at least talked to these people. Yeah, there's some truth. No. You didn't talk to them. All I did is talk to them. You talk to them like they're scum.
I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene.
Abelard says irascibly.
Remember Lord Captain Theodora. Do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she dedicated herself to her grand designs for the Protectorate as any true strategist and rogue trader ought.
Maybe if Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have had wound up dead. There's a new Lord Captain aboard the ship now. I will not repeat her mistake. Okay, well, I agree with that. I mean, come on. You said it yourself. She never even deigned to bring herself down there. And she's never got her protectorate. She ended up dead. Because cultists were swimming around in the lower deck where she had no idea what was going on there. Fine.
Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him.
The prosperity of the Von Valancius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds, they create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military.
Right. I understand. Sure. It's all ordered. By the book. Top down. They tell you what to do, you do it.
So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods, to distant frontiers, on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hanger on a seismically active world.
Alright. So what happened? He's going to tell me what happened.
One of the senior officers betrayed us all, the
Right.
rogue traitor was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the new rogue traitor, to aid you to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements.
Oh, here we go. Oh boy. Justice Stone. She died. I'm not gonna say that. Alright, well, and past have been dealt with. Oh man. I respect it, man. Oh, give me a sec. I may pay for this, but I understand. But you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world. A world where Theodora is gone. And where you and I have new decisions to make. Yes, Lord Captain. Yes, look at your resolve is admirable. Demonstrates strong leadership. I'll just remember this moment should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. I'm not gonna shoot you down. It's just that I'm concerned, man. If this order in the lower decks, and the thing is, I didn't let them just like, okay, yeah, you're gonna run the ship. Are you kidding me? This is my ship. But I don't want us just slaughtering people just because we can slaughter them. No, that rotate his eyes, stretch his legs, more suitable places, right? Good. See what I mean? People are terrified of me. Wow. Okay, let's go. So I probably won't see Lieutenant Vent anymore. Yeah, she's a junior officer anyway. It's not that I'm not open to hearing from our junior officers. But there is a chain of command. And that was highly unusual. I command our courage. Right. Okay, problem solved.